Good morning, everyone. So, shall we begin? Okay, so good morning and welcome to the second day of the ICRTH and Forum on Responsible Youth Leader. I am Luana Maningo and I am honored to be your chairing speaker for this morning. I'm currently based in Malaysia, where I'm taking my PhD in economics at University Kebangsaan Malaysia and a member of Southeast Asia Research Academy. For this session, we will be learning from three experts on youth leadership. We have Mr. Visna Key from Cambodia, Dr. Dinky E from Myanmar, and Ms. Alithia Tan from Thailand. For everyone's information, each speaker will have 15 minutes to present and a 5-minute warning will be given to them to wrap up the presentation. The audience may send their comments and questions in the chat box, and they will be entertained after all three speakers have presented. E-certificates of attendance can be self-generated at the conference platform of the certificate page after this event commences. Without further ado, we shall start with Mr. Visna with his talk on youth startups in tourism and hospitality, cases in Cambodia. Mr. Visna Key is a master's degree student in the Tourism and Sustainability program at Linnaeus University, Sweden. He is currently a member of Southeast Asia Research Academy and is affiliated with the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, Advocacy, Regional Workshop, and Swedish Institute Network of Global Future Leaders. He has dedicated his career to community development, such as tourism and sustainability, water and sanitation, non-formal education, and human trafficking. Everyone, let us welcome Mr. Visna Key.
Just wanna make sure that my slide is can be seen. Can you guys see my slide and hear my voice?
Yes, Visna, we can see your slide.
Okay. Sorry, there's a little bit of technical problem from my side. Let me try to share my screen one more time. I do not see it at the moment, sorry. Yep. Maybe I need to put it in full screen maybe. All right, should I start now? Good morning, everyone from Cambodia, and to those who do not share the same time zone, I'd like to say hello. Thank you so much, Wani, for the introduction and for the ICRTH team for this opportunity today to share with you startup cases in Cambodia under the theme of responsible tourism and hospitality. So today I would like to do two things. First, I think it's important to discuss and question ourselves about what responsible tourism means and who and what they are responsible for. Before, secondly, I will present two cases of startups by young people in Cambodia to show their leadership and responsibility toward tourism. To move my slide forward, see it going forward. No. Sorry, I normally use Google Drive, but now I'm trying to use my PDF file, but it's not going forward. I don't know why. Oh, I think this would be the best, I guess. Hopefully, no. All right, should be okay now. Sorry, technical problem. Yep. So, like I said, the first thing you should do is to understand what is responsible tourism. I think if you have participated in yesterday whole day, I think a lot of discussion have been about what responsible tourism is mean. So the term responsible tourism was first defined in a World Summit on Sustainable Development in 2002, and it is defined as making better place for people to live in and better place for people to visit. And as you may already know that tourism is one of the major polluter to the environment. So to achieve responsible tourism, the tourism and the travel industry must take the changes toward a more sustainable world seriously. And therefore, responsible tourism must respond to sustainable development. So what is responsible development? So what is sustainable development? So this concept was first defined in the Brundtland Report in 1987 as development that meet the needs of present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. However, if you see both of the definition, it seems to suggest that this is all about people. Huh? Better place for people to live, better place for people to visit, ability for the generation to, to utilize the resources. So we have to acknowledge that this definition has been more than 20 years ago. And we see the resources as the benefit for a human being, and instead of seeing their intrinsic value. I was joined with the chairman of this conference.
I'm sorry, Visna, to interrupt you, but I don't think your slides are moving.
Yeah, it's not moving. It's on the second slide.
I see.
Yes. So yeah, I was joined a event from Dr. Haran, the chairperson of this conference. He was talking about responsible tourism, and that four important aspects of responsible tourism he was mentioned. First of all, is about priority. Second is specific context, and third, trust, and the last one is respect. So we need to understand that what is the priority in Cambodia, what is most important in Cambodia, in Malaysia, in Sweden, where I study. We also need to understand the specific context of the local community. What are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, and what are the potential to develop. And to move this responsible tourism, you need to build trust among stakeholders. They need to feel that they are belonging to this journey, they are important, and then they benefit from this participation. And lastly, you need to also respect each other to actually move the responsible tourism forward. To sum up, responsible tourism should consider the well-being of human beings, their socio-economic, and more importantly, the resources, natural resources for their own value. And together, these key actors should act as an ecosystem, which means that if one element fails, the whole system may also fail. And this is why we need to keep the system working. And this is where young people can play a part. And this leads me to my second part of my presentation, which is a case study. So these two case study is based on my interaction with them, and one of them is my case study in my recent research study. And the first one is the called YA Catalyst. It's a startup by a group of 9 young people, originally started as a Young Eco Ambassador, or YEA. So they are individuals who love nature, commit to protecting the natural resource, and therefore they come together to empower, inspire, and educate each other and the society to live more sustainably. They are an agency that work with community-based ecotourism to strengthen management capacity, to develop tourists. And they also have built what they call advisory board that consists of young people, specialists, researchers coming together to support this startup. So in 2015, they start firstly a program called Dapre, which means walking into the forest. And from 2015 until now, they have brought at least 2,000 people into the forest. Yep. And with this experience, they allow people to learn about biodiversity, to meet with local ranger community, and overall, they want to inspire people to love nature. So this kind of experience that they have been doing make them realize that they can do more for the nature and for the local people. They have witnessed some of the problems in the community-based ecotourism, such as lack of communication and marketing skill, a fluctuating number of visitors, which lead to poorer service, lack of a long-term vision and planning. So therefore, they started this startup, the Ecologic. So where does the business stand? So their business want to provide support for community to address this problem and to be
I'm
a
sorry
long-term.
to interrupt you again, Visna, but may I clarify if we are still using the first slide of your presentation?
Oh, no. Actually, I'm on the 5th slide already. I think there must be some technical problem here. I think what I'm going to do is to try to share my slide from the other sources because this one doesn't work. Sorry, give me one moment.
No problem.
Yep. Yeah, good stop. Otherwise, I would finish my presentation without showing you all the slides. All right, I'm gonna share one more time. I hope it's gonna work this time. And sorry for the inconvenience. It should be coming shortly. Yep. So now I hope you can see my presentation moving.
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Right. So I was talking about the responsible tourism and what does it mean. That was the very beginning part of my presentation. And then I introduced the first cases, which is why a catalyst. They are young people, they love nature. They start with Dapre in 2015. They brought 2,000 people into the community forest. And that's why they learned from this experience to start this startup business. And then they aim to address this problem of the community-based ecotourism. And this is where the business stands. So their business is to support community-based ecotourism to address those problems. And they also want to build a long-term relationship with the stakeholder. And they make money from developing a tool package services and then they advertise this package to corporate company, to international visitor, to students to travel to this destination. And they also work with the international agency, the NGO, to provide consultant services that empower community-based ecotourism and to develop new products and services, and finally to build the capacity of this community. So these are the services that they actually provide. So you can see they do the community registration, they develop the destination strategy plan. They also have mobilized resources, funding for this community to further renovate their product, to expand. They do marketing for them. They integrate the sustainability impact into the way their community operates, and they provide other organizational services. So the first case study is actually showing that young people can come together, bringing idea, inspiration, commitment to contribute to development of community-based ecotourism and also to protect the natural environment. However, we have to understand that it is not always easy to bring like-minded people together. So this brings me to the second cases, which is about one individual and his family. Yep, this is information about the first case. So the second case is a family homestay called the Family Homestay. So this was an initiative by a son of the family who has been working in tourism sector about 10 years, something he told me. And then he was leaving for study and work from his village about 13 years ago. And then 6 years ago, he traveled back to his home community. And then he realized that there's a lot of problems he witnessed in the community. So he decided to do something about that with his skill and with available resources at his place. He started the idea with a laser house. So he started growing and selling organic food and fruit. But after a while, he realized that he has limited resource and his skill was in tourism. So that's why in 2018, he convinced his whole family to come together and start to do something with the homestay that benefit the community and also earn some money for his family. And because his father is a carpenter, so they build their own homestay. So for tourists, they provide eco accommodation and they grow organic gardens. They have their family farm, and they also build this homestay is around the idea of being eco-friendly as well as permaculture. However, the objective is still around his idea is to educate his village about practicing organic farming, permaculture farming, which help them improve their productivity, quality, and income. But after all, they still feel not enough. So because the farmer are not very educated, and there is also competition from private vendor who sell, chemical pesticide to the farmer, and they show the farmer that these can bring them better result or quicker result. So now he changed strategy. He want to no longer educate the farmer, but he need to do something with the children. So he start building a community learning center and also a library. So young people can come to his place and then learn about the agricultural practice, learn about being eco-friendly, water and energy efficient practice. And then the owner hope that after these children have experienced themselves, they can learn. One day they will be able to make good decision for themselves and also inspire their parents to change. So these are the community problem that he was trying to address. So as you can see, there is something had to do with wildlife missing the birds because of chemical pesticide using the land in his community become less fertility, water polluted, and waste management practice. And this overall lead to the poverty in his own community. So this is his solution. So the solution is to use the homestay and the learning center around the idea of permaculture. They try to be very efficient in terms of using energy, gas. They try to build a water system that, the recycled water, they go to the gardening. They even build their own organic farm. They have waste station. They have recycling plant, for example. And for tourists, what he provides is an option for people to visit. They can either choose to stay in one of the eco room, which is you don't have to use the air conditioner. You don't really need, so there is an option for you. And then the visitor get culture activity, growing organic fruit and garden. They also participate in cooking, and they also do the fishing. Is to generate money from visitor, from family explorer, and then they also sell some kind of vegetable that is organically built around the home. And then with the income that have contributed from this business model is to contribute to social impact by educating people, the children through the learning center as well as the library. Overall, these business model cases show that they have impact for the people who visit them, including the awareness about permaculture, about learning to live sustainably in a house that built around the idea of energy efficient, waste management, and food production, for example. For the community, they try to educate to raise awareness about environmental impact, training for young people, and showcase the role model to adopt agricultural practice, and also lastly to hope that these people can earn extra income from engaging in this homestay activity, as well as the practicing agricultural sustainably. And this is information about the Ecologic, which you can further look at. So this brings me to the conclusion of my presentation. So in conclusion, the two cases has demonstrated that individual can do something small with your own community, and you can also mobilize your family member to support you. You can also connect with like-minded people to start a group to work to empower the whole community to protect the nature. So my three takeaway from my presentation from this startup is that these people are motivated by their personal interest and the problem that they have witnessed. They connect, they mobilize resources because they know that young people can do something, but that they need support. So they need to connect and mobilize resources. And finally, they understand their role in society and they have potential. So they understand what is the most important for them, the priority for them, and they strive for that. So this brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Visna, for introducing us for your talk and for introducing us the initiatives of young leaders in Cambodia. It surely gives our participants and myself insights on the potential and the significant role that the youth plays in community development. So hopefully we can all visit the sites you have introduced to us when travel permits in the future. And again, if the participants have any questions to Mr. Visna, you may send it to us in the chat box. Next, let us welcome Dr. Dinky E from Myanmar, who will be presenting on new normal tourism in Southeast Asia, tipping the balance for nature. Dr. Dainty is a public health doctor, social development professional, and researcher from Myanmar, as well as she's also a member of Southeast Asia Research Academy. She was a 2019 New Zealand Scholarship Awardee and completed her master's degree in public management from Victoria University of Wellington in 2020. She is experienced in working with international NGOs and currently affiliated with the World Health Organization as a project coordinator. Everyone, let us welcome Dr. Dinky.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, doctor.
Thank you. So this is the topic that I would like to present today. So about the new normal tourism in Southeast Asia. So how could we tip the balance of for the nature? So first of all, I would like to tell you all that. So tourism in Southeast Asia has been like developed recently. So it's like a growing industry in Southeast Asia. So not only for the international tourist interest to visit to Southeast Asia country. So Southeast Asia country itself become like popular in the domestic tourism as well. So that's why, because more convenient in the information and communication, people want to travel to the more places like unseen places, discover the good places. So it's like tourism become really popular. So that the foreign revenue and the local economics has been developed, and the tourism become the good development industry in Southeast Asia. So as we can see that in Southeast Asia, we have like mostly conventional tourism style. It's kind of the mass tourism. because Southeast Asia has rich in the culture and historical places. So many people would like to go and see and also that religious places. So a lot of people go there, especially in the festival season. So we have this kind of tourism more. But due to the COVID, so many people are just really concerned about the tourism industry, because as we can see that not only in Southeast Asia, as a global scale, the tourism decline, and it stopped because of the lockdown and to stop the spreading of the diseases. So people are just thinking about how to restart the tourism, how to become a normal again, how to make people enjoy again, and how to rebuild the tourism industry. So many of being thinking about that. But at the same time, we need to just keep in mind about the COVID-19 situation. So it has great effect on tourism because it is not any kind of diseases. It's an airborne disease. It means that it can transmit from the person to person directly through the air, or maybe from person to the object. So if you touch the object that have a COVID-19 like droplets, you can also get the infection. So it's really high transmission, and also it's lethal. Lethal means it can lead to death. So it's really concerning the whole world. That's why, so the tourism and COVID-19, so it's like a kind of alarming situation. If people go from one place to another, it's a highly chance of transmitting the diseases. If people are crowded and confined in a large place, a lot of people can transmit within a minute. So it's a really concerning situation. But not only the COVID-19 situation, we still have concern about the tourism-related side effects we call drawbacks. So as you can see in the picture, the first picture is the backend, the historical site area is one of the temple. We have mural paintings, but people draw on that and get use white ink. So this is a kind of social cultural impacts. And then the second picture is a picture in the Indonesia, a beach on Indonesia. We can see a lot of the garbage dumps on the seaside. So that we have a lot of the problem, the over tourism and pollution and air, water, land, and depletion of the natural resources, ecosystem destruction, and the social cultural impacts. And one thing is that, and compared with the Western country and Southeast Asia countries, some countries still have the infrastructure challenge to meet up that's kind of the concerns. So it's we have these kind of concerns about that, and the previous presentation, like Viesna said, about the responsible tourism. So that's why these all are the concerns. On top of that, COVID-19 is a major concern as well. So how can we do that? So one solution is about the ecotourism and the staycation. So the ecotourism has I found two definitions from the two sides. One side is that it's the responsible kind of the travel to the natural areas that conserve the environment and sustain the well-being of the local people and involve the interpretation and education. So it have three objectives: good for the nature, good for the people, and good for the education purpose. Another definition is that ecotourism is used to meet the economic objectives by promoting the quality of the environment to attract the international tourists. So this one is one of the international tourists. So this one's apply to both local and international tourism. So ecotourism is a kind of interesting thing because we only travel on the nature. We only get the taste from the nature. And also another thing that COVID-19 just, people are really afraid of COVID-19 because it just cut down the every movement, the tourism, every festival, everything. But it have one good thing that if we can think of, because of the lockdown effect, because of the limitation of the human activity, we can see that there is a kind of the natural restoration. So the picture behind is the water condition in Venice. So it's become clearer, and we see sea algae forming again. So it's become natural ecosystems has been somehow rebuilt. So it's become some places have nature restoration, and the air quality become better. So there are some examples like Himalaya mountains can be seen from afar because air quality become better. And then wildlife recruits and the many fishes come to the shore places or something like that. And it's also reduction in the carbon footprints because we limit the activity. So this is the natural opportunity given by the COVID-19. We can find the good points from the COVID-19. So so let us think about that. So because of that condition, we can see that some improvement in the environment. So why can't we just like tip the balance of the COVID-19 situation to be a responsible tourism? So this is the quite a good example. We can like tip the balance, restore the tourism by restoring the nature. And we can promote the local communities about the the staycation and the ecotourism. So it's because like most affected by the pandemics. So tourism industry need to rebuild, and the local communities and local people are the most affected community rather than the big, it's kind of economics. So we can encourage the healthy travel style because ecotourism is a tourism in the nature. So it's a kind of a healthy way. And it's also good for the people because we can maintain the bubble. So we can keep the distance between the people. Like we can travel with small groups, only the family. And like the previous presentation, we can do homestays or such kind of things. These are we can visit to the nature rather than going into the mass crowded places. So this kind of tourism may be popular like for the COVID-19 after COVID-19 situation. So we can also learn the social cultural aspects from the different ways rather than we can learn the nature and we can learn the local people's activity. So we can act like a local. So it's a kind of a good thing. So to restart the tourism, we have to keep in mind two things. First, new normal lifestyle, and the second is the new normal tourism way. So we need to encourage the social distance, or discourage the unnecessary travel, and the wear the masks, wash the hands. And the popular tourism, like I said before, it's we can encourage this kind of ecotourism and the staycation to the Southeast Asia. So staycation is also kind of popular during this COVID, especially for the domestic tourism. So for the youth, so how can we be responsible for these kind of things? Firstly, we need to be eco-friendly and environmentally friendly citizen ourselves. So for the youth, we need to follow these kind of things, reduce the plastic use, and then we need to be respect to the nature. So we ourselves need to be an eco-friendly and environmental friendly citizen ourselves, and then be a eco-friendly and environmentally friendly traveler. When we travel, we need to just keep this thing in mind that every action every action by us can harm the nature and also the socio-economic aspects. So another thing is we can actively participate in the activities for improving the infrastructure. For Southeast Asia regions, as like I said before, the infrastructures, some places still have the challenges. Like if we want to go to the local places, some villages, they need some infrastructures to support the tourism and the nature preservation. So youth can actively participate in these kind of activities. Another thing is that we need to help to raise the awareness by the innovative activities. So like we still have like beach cleaning activities. So it's we can incorporate these kind of beach cleaning activities with the tourism. So it's like you can enjoy the nature, you can enjoy the nature at the same time, you can preserve the nature. So it's like beach cleaning and then enjoying the beach. So it's kind of like maybe competition or maybe rewards. So these kind of innovative ideas can be done by the youth. So this is the one example in my country. This is the Zero Waste Community in Myanmar. So me and my friends found this organization. So it's like this kind of, we encourage the youth to promote the zero waste activity. So to reduce, reuse, and recycles. We use to use the handmade nature handmade products that are the ingredients gained from the nature. It's like this kind of hand waving utensils and something like that. So this youth can do such kind of activities. So this is the Inle Lake in Myanmar. So it's Inle Lake is a lake that's situated in the high part of the mountain. So it's this kind of a lake need to be reserved. So because we need to know the procedures to follow to the nature, to preserve the nature. So we need to maintain this water level. So it's important for not only for the tourist and the traveler, but also for the local people. So for the infrastructure things. So youth people here then to then raise the awareness and spread the education for locals and tourism. There are youth people who do that in the Inle Lake. So I took these people from the Vietnam. So this is a tree planting activity from youth. So we can also incorporate this kind of activity with tourism. So it's like you plant a tree when you're traveling. So it's kind of exciting. So these are the three main points to restart the tourism in the after COVID-19. So first thing, to follow the COVID-19 protection rules. We must not forget about that. Second thing is the contribute to the awareness to the new normal kind of tourism. Rather than like mass crowd and tourism, we can do the ecotourism staycation as kind of a small group of people tourism. And we can encourage the people of how good the nature, the new normal tourism to the people and to the nature itself. So these are the key messages that COVID-19 actually has the negative effect, but we can grab the positive effects and tip the balance of the pandemic to the nature and the sustainability of the tourism. So that's why we can encourage more about that kind of the ecotourism and staycation. And we need to also follow the new normal lifestyle. So we need to reform the way of tourism rather than urgent to restart. So this is the best time to rethink and change to the better kind of the tourism. These are the references that I take. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Dinky, for your presentation. Truly, the pandemic has improved the condition of the natural environment, but it has also greatly affected the tourism sector. We appreciate you for highlighting the role of the youth in boosting the tourism industry as responsible tourists and citizens in their respective countries, and also introducing us the initiatives being implemented in Myanmar, which hopefully other countries can consider in the future. And now let us welcome Ms. Alithia Tan from Thailand with her talk on building platforms for youth empowerment. Ms. Tan is a community builder, project manager, and digital marketer. As a current PATHA Youth Ambassador, she is based in Bangkok, where she spearheads the Pacific Asia Travel Association Youth Program. Prior to that, Ms. Tan was a community manager in Singapore's art industry with Open House, a nonprofit visual arts organization. Beyond work, Alithia participated in numerous cross-cultural exchange programs, including her experiences as a Goodwill Ambassador to East Timor, a Youth Ambassador to South Korea, and with the 38th SHIP for Japan and Southeast Asia Youth Program. Everyone, let's welcome Ms. Alithia Tan.
Hi, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Can I just check, does everyone see my slides in presentation mode?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So let me know if my slides don't move as well. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to wherever you are in the world. Thank you, Wani, for the introduction. As she said, I am Alithia. I am PATHA's Youth Ambassador. Today I'm presenting to you on how we can build platforms for youth empowerment within the travel and tourism industry. So, of course, I just wanted to really kick us off with a very simple question, which is basically, what exactly is PATHA and how is that relevant to me? So PATHA, which stands for Pacific Asia Travel Association, is actually a membership association. Our members make are made up of public, private, and non-profit organizations, thus forming PATHA's international network across the tourism industry. We have members from all different sectors of the industry, that is to say aviation, hospitality, tour operators, DMOs, DMCs, SMEs, government, national tourism boards, educational institutions, etc., etc. So really, as a non-profit organization, our mission is to act as a catalyst for the responsible and sustainable development of travel and tourism to, from, and within the Pacific region. So how this is relevant to you as a youth, or even you as someone who is already a working professional in the travel and tourism industry, is that our community is very much a community for people who believe that their careers within the travel and tourism industry can make a very positive difference, can make a change within local economies, within local communities. So PATHA and PATHA's youth program in particular is relevant to youths who are interested in a career within the travel industry. So we have a program dedicated to equipping youths for the industry, and that is the PATHA Youth Program. And we also have a platform that empowers youth to actively and concretely contribute to the industry, and that is the PATHA Students Chapter platform, which I'll be sharing with you today. So the PATHA Youth Platform, here is a quick snapshot of everything that we've done last year during when the pandemic really started affecting the travel industry. So this is just 3 main goals that the PATHA Youth Program has. The first one is to gain industry knowledge via webinars and workshops. The second is to help youths expand their professional networks. This is done through networking events and mentorship sessions. And the third goal is really to exercise your voice as a youth. So the third goal about giving the youth a voice is something that I'm very passionate about. I always try to save a seat for the youth at the table and also actively hand them the mic so that they can share their opinions and even go on to lead conversations for us on industry issues that they are passionate about. This is something that I feel that all of us as working professionals in the travel and tourism industry need to do actively and need to do constantly to welcome the youth into conversations. But of course, this is just the PATHA Youth Program. This is what you see right now is really just something to have your community come together to participate in. The platform that we've built for the youth to be active on is the PATHA Student Chapters platform. So PATHA Student Chapters are essentially a student-run club within an educational institution. PATHA Student Chapters are the platform upon which youths become student leaders. They organize activities, raise awareness, they get to collaborate with each other, and they get to engage with the industry. So as the previous two guest speakers have already mentioned, there are so many problems within the tourism industry today. And these are problems that the youth, as the future of the industry, are actually inheriting. A lot of the times, it's easy to feel super helpless, and it's easy to feel like you can't do anything or change anything. But I'm really for the opinion that that is 100% not true. And what's more, you don't need to be a superhero to make a difference. So really the message that I'm sending today is that where you currently are based, and who you currently are is enough to make positive change within our tourism industry. So I present to you our 29 student chapters all over the world. You can see that they are all linked to educational institutions. You can see that they are all based in different countries all over the world. This isn't even all 29 of them. I couldn't fit all of them onto the slides. So this is just a snapshot of our community. And as proof to my earlier statement that you are enough, I wanted to share with you about the insights that I got from our student chapter roundtable discussion that was part of our youth symposium earlier last month and April in 2021. So in our student chapter roundtable discussion is an opportunity for student chapters leaders around the world to come together and share what they have been up to over the last year during a global pandemic, and share with us what their passion projects are, highlight to us the impact that their student chapter has made. And what we saw from that, this is a slide that I pulled out of a post-event report for the youth symposium. And what we saw is that the community across the world had done so many different activities, both in-person, hybrid activities, so both online and in-person, as well as online activities. And as a community, we raised awareness for so many different industry issues within the travel and tourism industry. So we talked about sustainability and the environment and how to build back better. We talked about how to reduce plastic waste or how to reduce food waste, as well as how do we increase gender equality in organizations, and how do we protect our cultural heritage. So there's this entire width and breadth of topics that as a community we were able to cover. And so in that meeting, in this one meeting where we had 26 out of our 29 student chapters represented, it was very, very clear to me that the community and the platform that we had built for them had empowered them to bring about an incredible amount of positive change through their activities and efforts. So I wanted to share with you a little bit on the amazing work that the youth community of PATHA has been doing for the industry. So this is a little bit of a deep dive into some examples. We can see how the student chapter in Lombok, Indonesia is implementing projects to reduce plastic waste on campus. I also know that they have been working with the culinary arts students to reduce food waste and turn the food waste products from their lessons into eco-enzymes that is then used as a method to raise funds and to be able to sell a product back to the community and educate the community on eco-enzymes. So that is absolutely amazing work from Lombok, Indonesia. The student chapter in Vietnam is constantly raising awareness for sustainability and reminding their community of the need to continue practicing sustainable practices and having sustainability be part of their everyday lives. The student chapter in Canada produces a podcast that informs on various industry issues. So they've covered everything from elephant tourism to gender equality in tourism to accessibility in tourism, for example. And the next slide, the student chapter in India did a fundraising project to raise funds for their community and to really meet the needs of their community in their country. So as you can see, each and every student chapter really has a different focus in terms of what they think their community needs to hear and what they think their community needs support in. So the student chapter in Australia actually runs an ongoing social media campaign to equip graduating students with interview skills, thus increasing their employability. And that is also one way that a student chapter is trying to meet the needs of their community, of the students that they serve. So at the end of the day, I'm very proud of my community for being able to bring about that much, being able to organize that much activity during a global pandemic where they are all isolating at home, they can't meet each other on campus. So I'm genuinely very, very, very proud of my student leaders. And all these student leaders are essentially change makers. They are creating positive change within their community for their community. And PATHA and the PATHA Youth Program is here to support them and amplify their efforts and amplify their voices. So I think what is really important if you are a youth and you want to be part of something bigger, you want to contribute to rebuilding the tourism industry in a meaningful way, or you want to also create positive change in your community, these are some of the things that I recommend. So the first is find your community. And obviously, I run a community, but your community doesn't have to be the PATHA youth community. I want you to join, but it's okay if it's not the community for you. Your community should really be something that you can align with their mission, their beliefs, and their community goals. So you can join an existing community, you can find one, or you can even start your own community out there. The second thing is use your voice. Sometimes you need to first learn the industry-specific language needed to communicate with your community or your target audience. And then once you've learned that language, start using it, start exercising your voice. Find spaces and find communities that promote your voice and encourage you to speak up. Engage with leaders in conversation. This last point about engaging leaders in conversation is something that my outgoing CEO, Dr. Mario Hardy, has always emphasized, that he is very appreciative every time the youth kind of engage him in conversation so that he can understand what the youth are thinking. Also, take action. This is how you learn new skills and put your new skills into action. And this is how you make positive changes around you. So my advice is really don't be afraid to fail, and also don't give up. So there's always going to be a learning curve, no matter who you are or where you are. There's always going to be obstacles to overcome. The road is never smooth. But that is how you level up, and that is how you improve yourself and your skills. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. So if it's the first time you're trying to bring about positive change, you might not get it right, and you might not do it perfectly. But the more times you try to bring about positive change while learning from your past mistakes, the better you become at doing it, at bringing about the change. So the more impact you'll create. So don't be afraid to fail, do it, and don't give up. The last thing, of course, is really, once again, emphasizing the goals that my community has, which is believe that your career can make a difference, believe that you can make a difference. And of course, I'm emphasizing this especially during these uncertain times during a global pandemic, because as a community, you're here to support each other, and it's harder to give up if you have all these people around you supporting you and cheering you on and amplifying your efforts. Now, this is all my pointers for youths to contribute to rebuilding, but I'm also very passionate about getting people who are already working professionals, already industry leaders within the industry, to also contribute to youth empowerment, contribute to the building back of the industry. And so these are some things that you can do if you are already working. If you're already an industry leader with an established career, you have networks and different resources from the youth. And honestly, I feel that the youth cannot do all the work by themselves, and they shouldn't be doing all the work by themselves. We should be leveraging what we have in order to empower the youth. So this is really the crux of my entire presentation, and I'm almost at the end, so please bear with me. How can you build a platform for youth empowerment? So the first thing first is really you need to set aside some time and put in some effort in getting to know the youth. Once you get to know them, you actually gain a deeper understanding of their motivations, their goals, and their needs. And different youth communities in different parts of the world will have different goals and have different needs. Once you know this, you can actually use that knowledge to help them to practice, to sharpen, to help them in a more effective manner. The second thing that you can do is to create safe spaces for them. Create safe spaces for them to learn, for them to practice, give them ownership over projects so that they can actually feel the consequences, and give them the space to make mistakes so that they can learn from their mistakes. The third thing is to mentor them. So I feel that mentorship is so vitally important these days. This generation is really, really, really suffering from a lack of confidence, and their professional networks have been negatively impacted by the global pandemic due to less networking events that are happening in person. So honestly, just you as one person, you can make a huge difference just by volunteering 1 hour of your time per month as a mentor. And so if you're interested in becoming a mentor to youths in the tourism industry, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is ytp@patha.org. So feel free to drop me an email. The last thing that is really important in terms of contributing to youth empowerment and building those platforms for the youth is that I encourage you to use your influence where you are, right? So you have an existing company that you work for. You can, in your existing company, get to know the youths that are involved in your company, start creating safe spaces within your company for the youths to learn, start saving them a seat at the table and handing them the mic, as well as starting to mentor youths for your organization. And encourage other people in your organization to also do the same. And if not in your company or your organization or the place you work, then in your local community, the places that you live and the places that you volunteer in. You can also go one step further and open the doors for youth within your professional networks, within the international communities that you belong to. And honestly, this is not so scary once you spend the time and effort getting to know them, which goes back to point 1. So these are all the concrete things that anyone can do to make a difference and bring about positive change and create an impact. And you can do all these things alongside PATHA and PATHA Youth. So this is my last slide. I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. So if you are a youth, join the community and gain access to the program at patha.org/youth. If you belong to an educational institution, you can join us as a member and set up a PATHA student chapter to empower your students. And if you are an industry leader and a working professional in the tourism industry who believes your career can make a difference and you want to contribute to the youth within tourism, so you can become a mentor or a collaborator, simply email me at ytp@patha.org. So thank you very much for this opportunity to share. I hope it was useful for you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Alithia, for introducing us the programs and services of PATHA. You have inspired everyone on how the youths and students can lead and contribute in their communities. If the participants would like to know more about PATHA, do contact Ms. Alithia Tan. She has given her email. Or you could also visit the PATHA website. If you have any questions for any of our speakers, please do send them in the chat box. We have a few minutes left to entertain some questions. Right. So there are a few questions already sent to us, and we have some for Mr. Visna, and it's from Resti Meilani. He or she finds your presentation very interesting, and the participant would like to know if there are any specific theory or theories that you used in analyzing your findings, because this person is interested in leadership theory. And if you could suggest any readings about leadership relating to tourism and environmental action. And sorry, also we have a question from Dr. Edward Maningo to Visna again. He finds your talk very inspiring and your love for nature. He would like to know, how did the YEA Catalyst operationalize the program? Are there any challenges? And how did the community benefit from the startup financially? And was there a sharing of financial benefits?
Thank you, Wani. I think I'm gonna answer the question, second question first, because I find it easier to answer. So the startup or YEA Catalyst, there is some kind of somewhat sharing financial benefit between the community and the business. In their business model presented to me, the channel of revenue is from two sides. One is from providing consultant services to organization, NGO, development partner who normally do their work to contribute to develop these communities. So they want to provide some kind of services, research, capacity building, any kind of services that the NGO usually do. They kind of provide this kind of clinical care to the community by charging the money from this NGO. Secondly, they somehow develop the tour package, tour program, develop more product for the community so that they can market this package to private sector, to the company, corporate for their retreat, their team building activity. They also sell this kind of package to student group, international traveler. So in that way, they benefit somehow financially from this package, and the package would be therefore an income for the community as well as to their group, but not directly charge the money from the community. That's how their business model actually works. And how does the community benefit from the startup? So in their business model presented in the pitch session, they said that they would bring at least 500 visitors to this community every year, in whichever community they are working with. So this is the benefit that they try to bring the community, and also address the previous problem which they were talking, that there is an inconsistent number of visitors to this community. Operationalizing the love, inspiring for love for nature. I think what they actually really do is to get people to into the forest, and that leave people with memory, understand what is the biodiversity in there, and making sure that people really stay close to the nature so that they can belong, feel that they are part of nature themselves. I hope I answered the second question. I think the first question is not only for me. I think all speaker and maybe Dr. Hiram or Lenny also is here, can also have answer. I am not from leadership field. I am from tourism sustainability field, but I do not have any specific leadership theory. But I kind of look at the definition when I study these cases. So leadership is, making sure that you have a goal and then you mobilize people to join your journey and to realize the goal. Like this case of the first case, for example, there is two or more founder, and they bring more people with expertise, and they form advisory board consists of expertise researcher to come together to convince them to do that work. So that would be my answer, but I hope that there is someone who have a skill in leadership that can provide the answer to this question. But thank you for your question.
Thank you very much, Vesna, for answering the questions. We have a question for Dr. Dinky. With regards to the issue on over-tourism, are there any tools that have been successful in regulating the optimum capacity for visitors of the site that you know of? For example, in the Philippines, for example, they have developed the CARCAP model to assess the optimum carrying capacity of a tourism site, and Nature Conservancy developed the systems dynamic model to determine the impact of tourism. But there are limited documentation on how these decision tools are operationalized and its effectiveness. So are there any approaches or tools to minimize the impacts of exceeding the carrying capacity of the tourist site?
Thank you, Winnie. Thank you for the question. So it's really an interesting question, and it needs a lot of things to consider. So it's there are many opinions about the over-tourism. So like but in the Southeast Asia, as I said before, so we have a lot of the historical sites and monuments. So this kind of the places has a problem with such kind of the over tourism activity. But rather than for the tourists in the nature and the doing the activity or going for the forest or something like that, so this over tourism thing is not a huge concern on that. But in my experience in New Zealand, so they just really treasure about the environment. So it's like they have anything or fine and taxes for the any kind of the the inappropriate actions, such kind of like that. If you are going to the forest, you cannot take any flowers or any leaf or anything like that, or you cannot pick. So it's kind of the violation of the law of the nature law. So you can have a huge amount of fine for that. So this kind of activity is really great for the like taxes or the like fine. So it's like we can just input such kind of rules for the tourists. So tourists can have alarm that they have to be aware of not the not to just not to make negative effect on the environment and the community. So this is the one example that I have experienced. So another thing is that, like I said before, in Southeast Asia, we need a lot of infrastructure before like welcoming a lot of tourists. So because the over-tourism happens because there is the improportionate between the capacity that the place can have and the amount of the tourists. So it's like we welcome a lot of the tourists, but we reluctantly, it's like forget about the measurement capacity sometimes. So it's become like that. We have like once in a lifetime opportunity to visit there, but we have a bad experience on that, and we find that we'll never visit that place again. So it's because really bad. So and then another problem is that in Southeast Asia, as in my country, we have like festival season. So this kind of festival season, a lot of people want to go there to enjoy the festive movement. So at the time we have like accommodation problem and also the sanitation problem and a lot of the people out there. So another thing in to anticipate that kind of problem is that we need to just limit the amount of the people from the previous festival. I mean, it's like we have like kind of the previous data on the previous festivals and previous years. We know the measurement amount of the capacity, and then we can do a survey, feedback survey of the visitors and the tourists. So what kind of things annoy them most? So we need to adjust this data. So if that exceeds the measurement amount of the capacity, so from the previous data, we can focus from the how many people can visit this year festival. So we can limit the amount, we can spread the information as well. Information is really important. So if people don't know about the information, so they won't know that the maximum limit of the capacity and something like that. In Barcelona has one kind of example on that. So they have like such kind of the surveys and the activity, and they monitor this kind of the activity, and they made a forecast. So, and then when there is the exceeding the limit of the measurement amount of the capacity of the tourist or the activity, they put the red highlight on the calendar and the places, so that people can avoid the activity and the people can avoid such kind of the place. And then they can do another kind of activity, and they can spread their tourist site. So this is another kind of the good solution for that, for the over tourism. We need infrastructure and the good information and the good forecast and the survey of the research and the data. Thank you.
So sorry, my connection was interrupted a while ago. So thank you very much to the speakers and for the participants for joining us this morning. And we hope everyone has learned from the forum today. Before we end, may I request all the speakers to turn on their camera so that we can have a screenshot. So sorry. So again, thank you very much to all the speakers and to all the participants. So once again, thank you and good morning, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.